What is it, Eric?
It's very colorful. It looks, I would say, like some sort of clothing right now. Oh God, it's a button down.
It's a party guy shirt, bud. That's a 90s party guy shirt.
I appreciate you giving me a large, by the way. A couple. This is like a bubblegum pink button down, short sleeve button down, and it's got like retro triangle shapes on it. This is
That's 90s design, bud.
yeah. I'm gonna put it on. Yeah, hold on a sec. Yeah, buddy.
Hello, and thank you very much for downloading this most recent episode of Movie Guys Podcast. You can download many more episodes at movieguyspodcast.podbean.com.
Cuckoo. Cuckoo. Today we're talking about LongLegs, and I am hoarse. I'm sick. I am sorry, but the show must go on. Eric, talking about LongLegs, how the hell are you doing?
You know, it's funny that you open up with Cuckoo because Neon, the distributor of this film, which are trying to be like another independent A24, and they're doing pretty good right now, actually, had a movie that also came out this year called Cuckoo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it was. I was gonna say, Happy Halloween, but I was like, nah. I gotta go with Cuckoo, right? I mean,
I'm glad you did that rather than Mommy.
yeah,
Daddy.
I can't do it with my hoarse voice. I would if I wasn't coming over a cold. LongLegs, a movie that I stumbled upon trailers on YouTube. I talked to you about it off air. You already seen it in theaters. You said this is great. Waited for it to come available on streaming. I was excited for it. And this is funny, so I'm going to bear with me for a second. I hated this movie.
Sure.
Hated. I hated it. It was a bag of kernels.
Okay.
Like it was Halloween territory, right? So I watched the movie at home, and I'm like, this is a bag of kernels. This is terrible. I don't like this movie at all. And then I go to the restroom, go get another Mick because my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the next 3 hours, I think about this darn movie.
Yeah.
And then halfway through thinking about it, I'm just like, if a movie is making me think for 3 hours laying in bed about it, there's something here.
Oh, yeah. Listen.
So I went back and rewatched, and my opinion has changed. But if we recorded this the night that I watched it, this would have been a bag of kernels.
So when I saw this in theaters, I went in cold completely, as I enjoy doing and often do. And I remember when the movie ended, I kind of just sat there and being like, wait a minute. This needs to register and marinate a bit more before I can really form an opinion. And my buddy who I went to go see this movie with, I think felt the same way, where it was like, listen, there's a lot there, and I have a lot of questions. I'm going to have to go on the internet and really take a look into this. But for the most part, in the movie itself, I enjoyed the direction and the cinematography of it, because that really is, and we'll talk about that more in depth about how scary movies are adding this extra element, and it really does take away from maybe, or not take away, but add to an absence of the story, or if it's missing something, it has this other element into it. We talked about it with Smile, right, where it had a lot of audio a lot of audio into it. Or wasn't there another one that we had seen? Not Smile. Do you know another horror movie that we saw last year or a couple years ago? Nope. I'll have to bring it up. I feel like, or maybe like Megan or something.
Sure.
I'll have to think of it. But after a week, I asked him again, because I got to see him. I was like, what do you think? And he's like, listen, I think I liked part 1 and part 2 a lot more than I liked part 3. Part 3 really took me out of this movie, as it did for myself. But I find myself more and more enjoying that build-up. the parts that were in part one and part two, the parts that never happened. And by that I mean those suspenseful moments where there's a wide lens shot and suspense is building, and you're looking everywhere in the background for something to happen, and you often never get it.
Yes, that's what ticked me off. One of the main things that made me mad in this movie was the main actress. Um, at the time, right? My arms were folded. This is a Clarice Starling ripoff, and her character is terrible. I hated her character.
Okay.
I mean, because what I liked about Claire, this is the new generation of Silence of the Lambs, right? What I loved about Clarice in Silence was she had a character, she had a story, she had emotions. You know, she was a person. This girl, this Clarice Starling wannabe at my feelings at the time was, she's one note. She was terrible. I could not follow her at all.
Sure.
I didn't care about her story, her journey. I did not care. All I cared about was what I saw on TikTok, and I just want to see Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, that's fair enough, right? I had seen people commenting that she was all borderline autistic in this movie. I don't know if that was intentional or not. I didn't look up too far past that. But yeah, it seemed like it was very deadpan. It was very just what like observed or just kind of toned down for the movie.
Took me out of it. But I'm so glad that I thought about it for a while and why I went back and revisited it because I don't know if I'm being ridiculous here, but I put this movie in the same category as It Follows.
Hey, that's where
Uh,
the main actress was actually.
who is she in It Follows? The main girl?
She's the main girl in It Follows.
She was blonde in that movie.
Yes.
That's okay. Well, it brought me back to that. I'm just like, here's a little horror movie that shouldn't be popular at all, and somehow it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think we are getting a new resurgence in horror. Spoiler alert: I love this movie now, which I feel is great about the movie because I feel like it gives you multiple viewings. You know, but yeah, man, the first time I seen this, oh, it's bad. So, what's her name? What's the Lee?
Yes, Lee Harker.
So the beginning of the movie, we get introduced to Lee. She's a rookie FBI agent, and she's partnered with some weird looking
Some
dude.
goober. Yeah.
And they're going to these condos to knock on doors because there's a suspect of a killer. That's what I got from it the first time seeing it.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And what took me out of the movie immediately, when I was like, screw this movie, right? Was she turns around and she looks at another house across the street and she's like, oh, the killer's in there.
Yeah.
And then her partner's like, what? No, and she's like, yeah, it is. And he's like, I'll go knock on the door. And as soon as he goes up, I'm like, okay, well, this guy's going to die. I'm like, this movie up until the end is extremely predictable.
It plays like any other kind of movie, I would say. Now, as you're comparing it to It Follows, I think a lot of other people were comparing this to Silence of the Lambs originally. More of just young female rookie agent and following intuition. We find out later in this movie that it's not necessarily intuition as much as it's like a guiding force, but it's tracking a serial killer, right?
Right. Serial
Who's
killer.
yeah,
Not her partner knocks on the wrong door, right? Dude gets shot in the face. She walks in. What actually a great visual where she walks in this nice condo and there's Visqueen everywhere.
yeah,
Right? Like why? Why is there Visqueen everywhere?
yeah. Uh,
What's this guy doing? And then she walks upstairs and then the killer, we don't see his face. He's sitting on the bed. His He's facing the window, and she's like, "Don't move." He's like, "I won't," and we don't know anything else after that.
Yeah, it kind of is a little bit of a setup, right? And this is where the multiple viewings help because after this part, we are led to believe that she is some sort of psychic, right? And so she gets evaluated immediately after this by the FBI to say, we're going to show you images. What's the first word that pops into your head? Guess the numbers, type of thing. And
Like from the Blade Runner sequels, what I thought of.
yeah,
Remember that?
okay, good call. Uh, there were people online that were trying to correlate between the movie and the predictions. The slides that they were showing were a something to show you what was going to happen later on in the movie. Remember, like
Oh,
how in The Ring, how the videotape would show like little signs, glimpses, images in the tape, and then as the movie progressed, you got to see those, like the house and the well, the ring,
the tree.
yeah, the tree. That's what people were trying to match up, and sometimes it made sense, sometimes it didn't. I think it was a bit of a reach, but interesting all the same that there are something else, something more to catch every time that you watch this movie.
Yeah, because then she goes to her boss. Dude, the first 40 minutes of this movie is theft. Like, because after this whole debriefing, she goes to her boss who has hints that he kind of likes her, but kind of doesn't like her, but he's giving a young rookie FBI agent these jobs. You know what I mean? And then, hey, we're going to give you a case that can't be solved. Just like her boss, just like Clarice's boss in Silence, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's theft.
I think yeah, you're right. I wouldn't say blatant theft, but it's where you're talking about how you can guess what is going to happen next. I would say that it's because of movies like that where you've seen this before. And listen, I'm not trying to say that it's not interesting. I enjoy the plot of a serial killer that has been going on for decades, that is a cold case that they have no leads on, and because of that, so Agent Carter is the boss, played by
The
Blair
boss.
Underwood,
Okay.
and he's like, okay, listen, we have this detective who may or may not be psychic and have this ability. Well, listen, we've had this cold case, the serial killer that we assume is a serial killer named Longlegs, who's been doing this for decades now. And so this movie, we can guess, takes place around 95. We know that
I
this.
thought earlier.
Well, the picture of Bill Clinton in the back.
I thought like 92, 93. Like that's what but you think
Okay,
95?
I think it sure is around there though, right?
Okay. So around that gap, you're thinking. Okay.
Yeah,
94, split hairs.
yeah, and the idea is just like, all right, well, let's throw this one up in the air. Let's see if she can catch it and say, hey, listen, here's the case, here's all the files, here's all the resources on it. Let us know if you get a hit, if you get any sort of thing on it. And sure enough, we have her kind of really overlooking and really reading into everything like that. She goes back to her house, I think after kind of being overexposed to the whole case. She actually has her first encounter with Longlegs there, who leaves her a birthday card because her birthday is coming up. We have that whole suspenseful, tense moment of her in her house in the woods with just the porch light and just the indoor light and very dark lighting, and it's very kind of creepy, right? Like movie elements like that, I think work for as a director, not as a story, but as a director, because you have to build that. That is a moment right there where, as somebody on the couch over here was watching it, it made them afraid to go down the steps, and myself included, because you just got done seeing this, and a great fear and the great scary part that people will always have is the unknown. What the heck is in that corner? It's dark over there. I could feel the eyes looking at me. Somebody's there. I know it is. But like in this movie, you can't see it. You can't find them, but you know something's there.
Right. But again, this did take me out of the movie because her heavy breathing while she has the gun in her view every time, like they make that a point, right? Like the first guy that killed her partner at the beginning of the movie, right? She's going through the Visqueen house and she's breathing heavily, and then Longlegs visits her at her house and she's breathing heavily. He's like, "Man, you're a terrible FBI agent. You're supposed to be quiet. If I was Longlegs, I can hear you coming a million miles, right?"
See, I
But
got just to interrupt you in that. Same with the opening part of the condo and this. It's got one of those where you don't know what's happening next, and obviously the adrenaline is going through you to where you gotta breathe like that. You're probably not even thinking about it in that moment.
I guess it took me again. Again, I am probably confusing the audience. I don't know, but the first time I saw this movie, it was a bag of kernels. So I'm giving you kind of what I felt when I first watched. Because
Sure.
I'm saving what I really feel towards the end. But yeah, I was pissed about that. Okay, so for the movie's sake, spoilers. So Longlegs himself actually did come to her house, and right, that is confirmed in this. Like she was there talking to her mom on the phone. She sees a shadowy figure out in the distance. That's Longlegs. That's Cage right there visiting her.
Yeah, the movie opens with the young girl, we find out later on that it's a young Lee Harker, but she's at her house
Obvious.
and a car pulls up and it has like that, the 6x9 kind of
I didn't like
screen.
that.
And then
Yeah.
eventually, as it goes into the common or the regular day, it pans out to the
Yeah.
bigger ratio, which is great. I like that effect. But yeah, the first exposure that we get to Longlegs is this part where, and notice very Hitchcock. There's not really any soundtrack to this. There's a
Uh-uh.
few that get played in around Longlegs or kind of in selective areas, but like a few. There's only like a few that really get played, and I think it's really just for tension building moments there. Anyway, it opens up with young Lee, going outside because she thinks she sees someone come up. She goes into the backyard because she thinks she sees someone creeping around the back, and she's looking around, and then she turns around and boom, there's Longlegs. But we don't get to see him. Yeah, we don't really get to see. We just get to see kind of like from the mouth down, and
So
creepy,
so
huh?
with so with that, right? Without spoiling too much, right? Because I don't want to yet. But what is the motive of the killer? What is the motive of Longlegs? So the reason why I say that is because for the way the story progresses, he picks families that have 10-year-old girls that have the same
Hold on,
birthday.
we'll have to save this for later because I did some
Oh,
research on it because it was a big reason why I did not like the movie.
oh,
It's
okay. Because
it's
I was
a
confused. I'm like, what?
whole different discussion. Like it got to a point where as I'm really digging in, like reading reviews and reading or watching interviews, where I got the explanation. And it was just like, oh, that's it. Like I wanted there to be more. Like remember when you watched Mother, the Aronofsky film for the first time, you're just like, oh
We
man, I want,
reviewed it.
yeah. We had all these, I had all these guesses. They're like, oh, what could it mean? It could mean, this. It could mean cancer in the body, and the house is the body. We had all these different, discussion
Yeah.
talking points, and then you see the interview with Darren, and he's like, oh no, it's the Bible. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. I
it,
remember
buddy. Like,
my brother was on that show and he was going so like artistic with it. And then like a few days later after we aired the episode, it's like, no, it's the Bible. And it's just like, oh yeah,
wow,
I know what you're feeling.
yeah.
So I don't know that then because I guess I'm still confused. Upon this recording, like no BS, I guess I'm still confused then. So I guess you know for a fact why he's picking these people, but you'll discuss that with me later because all I know of right now is that what I feel second time I seen this movie was he was picking girls, little girls, 10-year-old girls who have the same birthday, but that's not necessarily the case, right?
Well, no, that it is for a greater reason, Jordan.
Okay. We'll
It
save it.
no, no, yeah, exactly.
We'll
So
save it.
where was I? Oh, So Agent Carter throws Lee the case in hopes that it'll happen. And like the next day or two, she comes back and they go to another victim's house that had happened recently.
They didn't
And
go into it though.
uh, who's that?
They didn't go into that next house. So they went to another house where they're just sitting in this cul-de-sac talking about how the dad was a coach and the mom was a blah blah blah
Right,
whatever,
right.
when the
Lee
dad goes
reviews
crazy.
that case. And we get all the photos and the phone calls, which are creepy,
Right.
and the newspaper clippings. And she's studying, and then her thing in their house in the woods that happens. But no, it was like a day or two later where another event happened, another murder happened, right? And then
Right.
that's when they Agent Carter gives her like, "Oh, we know it's long legs. Here's the thing. Here's the letter, the cipher, the encrypted letter that he writes." And by that moment, because of the letter, the birthday card that Lee had gotten in her house, she was able to decipher the encryption into it and really be able to interpret what Longlegs is saying, which it seemed now he's speaking directly to Lee Harker and kind of directly talking to her.
So you're talking about when they go to that farmhouse because her and her boss go to this farmhouse before they go to a psych ward to meet this other person
That
that.
happens after. I'm talking about the people that were sitting in their bed for like 30 something days and
Oh, okay, with the maggots.
yes.
Okay, yep. They remind me of Seven. Okay,
Yeah, that's a good one.
okay. Wait a minute. So, okay, so that's what that means. Okay, so then her cabin, Longlegs meets her, goes to another victim's house. It sounds like it's Longlegs. And he murders them months prior, I'm assuming, or weeks prior, like the
Yeah,
whole family.
yeah.
But all we see is the mom, right? Or is that the little girl that's in the bed?
That was the little girl I thought, or
Was it?
yeah.
Oh,
Hold on, let me pull up the thing because I'm pretty sure. Lee discovers each family had a 9-year-old born daughter on the 14th of the month. The murders all occurred within 6 days before or after the birthday itself. And the reason why is because if you put it into a pattern, it forms a triangle, the occult kind of a thing.
666.
Yeah, and that one that they go to, oh, it doesn't even say it in here.
Okay.
Uh, it's interesting,
Because
but
I forgot about it. It wasn't a
yeah,
big scene.
but either way, this ties into them talking about how there was one survivor in the barn, and after that, Lee and Carter go to that barn where the one survivor lived, the girl, and then that's
Which, yeah.
go ahead.
I was going to say, I live in Farmville, and that's outside. It looks like what I see every day, but inside, that's a movie. Sorry, I'm sick. That's a movie studio barn set right there.
Yeah.
Like, that barn does not look like that from the outside to the inside. That place looks like a mansion. And these people walk in, go upstairs to this big, beautiful loft area, and there's a cross there that's kind of like nailed to the floorboard up
Uh huh.
top. And this is where they find a doll.
Yeah.
And they take the doll, which I got confused about even after the second time. They take the doll to the coroner.
Yes.
It's a
Just
doll.
just to see if there's any. So the corner, and this is where we get a first clue later on. And again, after a few rewatches, I start to piece it all together, and I guess we can start talking about it now. This is kind of a weird thing here, but the doll maker is a very um, professional craftsman in creating this, and everything is to the likeness for the most part of the little girl in the family, the one who survived. And they found that in the head there is a ball, an orb, like a metal orb inside. And in this orb, there's nothing in it. But when the guy puts some sort of like UV or like what is the ultrasound next to it, it created a sound. Excuse me, like a vibration. Like gave him some reaction. Also, the coroner had mentioned that he was talking. He's had bad thoughts about his ex-wife
The
because
coroner asked.
yeah, he starts talking, and again, I caught this on a few different rewatches where he starts saying that, and he mentions something about his ex-wife. How he has like just bad thoughts about his ex-wife or something like that. The reason why this is relevant now, and I guess we can start spoiling it, is because um, Agent Carter tells Lee to like, hey, listen, you gotta talk to your mom because this this whole thing was ice cold, and then you came in, and now everything is just flowing. He makes that
Hmm.
comment because they also go to see the survivor, who was up until that point catatonic. She was just out, right? Also, by the way, that girl, the catatonic, was Sabrina, the teenage witch. What the
From
heck's
Art? What? Not from the 90s.
No,
Not
the one
Melissa Joan Hart.
from no, the Netflix one from Carrie Ann Camera. Is that her name?
Never even seen the Netflix adaptation of it.
Well, you have seen Twisters, and she was also in the opening end of Twisters. So this girl is now two times in our movies.
Who was
So
she in Twisters in the beginning?
she was in the opening. She was one of the friends that got killed by the
Oh, the
opening
one
tornado.
when it got underneath the overpass and got flung away.
Yeah, that's right.
So she's a star on the rise.
She's in a lot. She's picking up where she can get a role,
Okay.
basically.
So she's the little girl that survives?
Yeah, she's a little girl that survives, and the doll that they find in the barn is supposed to be of her. We find out
Do
later on. Oh, did you have another question? Please.
do we know how she survived?
Because she wasn't there. She wasn't at the house when the dad killed everybody.
But somebody else came as a accomplice,
Accomplice?
accomplice, right?
Well, we find out that basically at the end of all this, because her mom's been hiding out all of this too. Have you been saying your prayers, Lee? It's like, no, Mom, actually, I haven't.
Hmm.
And kind of lying to her about a lot of stuff. We find out that actually, Mom, do you remember what happened on my ninth birthday or something like that? You know why you called the police and lying to her. No, I don't know what you're talking about, kind of thing. So basically, what happened is that Longlegs came to visit her on her ninth birthday and was supposed to do a ritual, but the mom, what's her name, Ruth? Hold on, yeah, is Ruth Harker, is made a deal basically with Longlegs, saying, "Listen, as long as you keep my daughter alive and allow her to grow up, I will, I will make a deal with you," type of thing. So Longlegs says, "Sure, we can make a deal here." Basically, what's happening here is that Longlegs is crafting these dolls in the likeness of a daughter, okay?
Hmm.
And in the head of the doll, he has those metal orbs, which are some sort of satanic type of orb here, okay? Which causes a possession. Whenever they are in the house, whatever family that is near or around that doll is possessed. They get influenced heavily by this doll. They have dark thoughts. And then they kill their family. That's flat out what that is. And we get to see in one of them, as Ruth is explaining her story about how she saved Lee's life, we get to see this whole montage of her taking dolls to these houses and watching the families go crazy. She dresses up as a nun, as somebody that is trustworthy, right? As somebody who wouldn't be usually turned away at the door, and says, "Hey, you've won a prize from the church. It's a doll of your little girl. It's like, oh, well, come on in. And as soon as the doll is revealed, it starts working its dark magic. And you could see a lot of times the dads just start getting real angry and just start, well, getting real violent. And starts killing basically.
Which is where I turned for the positive, right? Because there's two twists in the movie. This would be twist one, I would say.
Sure.
This where I was like, oh, okay. So he's. I mean, I think they call it out in the movie. He's like Charles Manson. He doesn't actually kill anybody.
Correct. He doesn't actually kill anybody. He also revealed that he's been living in the basement the entire time.
Basement of what?
Of Ruth's and Lee's house.
I did not catch that. Really?
Yeah. He's been living in the basement the entire time. Because when later on in the movie, when Lee goes to confront her mom, and we get, I guess, the can of beans open there, and the mom kills, a great kill, by the way, kills the other agent, Agent Browning, in the car with a shotgun, which is pretty cool. And they already caught LongLegs, and LongLegs then already killed himself in the interview table, which was, again, kind of a weird full Nick Cage moment, if I could say.
It was not the bees, but in all the right ways.
Hail Satan.
Okay, so LongLegs is a dude, right? He's just a dude, and he became a Satanist, and Satan's telling him to create dolls that mimic girls that are 9 years old that have the same birthdays to kill the girls, the mother and the father, because Satan says, is there a number? Usually these movies, there's like, if I kill 6, then, Satan arises. And you know what I mean? Like, is there an end to the bloodlust? Like,
yeah, I believe in, this is through kind of findings that the last family, which is Agent Carter's family.
Right.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was
the second
dark
twist.
moment there. Yeah, where his daughter Ruby, where I believe that if she were to die in the Hall of Sacrifice, and that would have been, in theory, the kind of completion of whatever summoning what it is, but it's never really confirmed. It's never really even hinted or alluded to in broad terms. It's more just maybe a theory that a lot of people have, that I think that that Lee was trying to come to during her connecting of the dots. But take that for what it is. It's an open ending, so
right. Because it's hard to talk about this movie without talking about all the spoilers right off the bat, right? I mean, like, okay, the mom.
I don't mind talking about the spoilers because, again, to be honest, as I'm watching it the first time, I'm like, part 1 and part 2 is like, okay, I'm in it. Okay, cat and mouse, we're hunting this serial killer. And then part 3 happens, and you realize that this guy is crazy. He's a Satanist. And then you realize that it's all the dolls who are possessing the families doing it. I want to be like, well, that's it? Is like we got some sort of supernatural element to this movie? Like I liked it more when it was just some
real
psycho killer doing some crazy stuff here. Like that would be pretty cool. But instead, you have this. Like the movie up until then seemed very real and very kind of in this. You know what I mean by real? Like it still played like the line of like we're in this world and we're playing by real world rules here. And then once you get into this part of supernatural, you're kind of you're past that. Now,
which,
as I say this, I'll end it here. As I say that, I do have to say that Lee has been a psychic, so I guess that's not really too real.
Which I'm two faces of this, because when the first time I saw this, I was like, supernatural. This is clearly a remake of Silence of the Lambs. This is the new generation of Silence of the Lambs. Why? There was no supernatural in that. Like, what makes Silence of the Lambs so creepy and good is because it could happen, right?
Yeah.
So I was disappointed that the supernatural, blatantly, right? Because the families are possessed, so there's no way around it. There is some supernatural elements going on. But after I watched it a second time, I'm like, no, it's different, and because it's different, I kind of like it, right? That's what makes it different. I know that sounded weird. That's what makes it different. That makes me like it more.
Sure.
Is because it's not just blatantly Silence of the Lambs part deux.
So another thing to add too is that towards the end, when Lee goes to confront her mom, and she kills the other agent, her mom immediately goes to the backyard and gets the doll of Lee.
Right.
And
Let's talk about that.
this is where we find that the doll of Lee is almost like a voodoo kind of a thing, where it was used to block a lot of Lee's memories. It was giving her power that was kind of pushing her or influencing her to go in one way. And
Mm-hmm.
as soon as her mom shot the doll and blew its metal orb out of its head, it kind of you saw it happen with Lee too, where it kind of kicked the spirit out of her almost.
So Ruth, her mom, she did that for Lee, right? She shot the doll in the head to try to save her daughter. That's the whole point of that, right?
I think
Ultimately, Ruth is a good guy, trying to be a good guy. Because I thought about this. Like, I mean, this one made me think, right? I was like, if some Nick Cage dude comes to the house and he's like, hey, bud, I'm going to kill your kid. And it's like, no, you're not. And it's like, all right, well, if you join me in Partners of Crime, then I won't. I mean, is it hard for me to say no?
I think Ruth is just trying to protect her daughter. I wouldn't really call her a
That's
good
what I'm trying to
person,
say.
as she was murdering
She's
families, helping to murder families.
but she's protecting her child, right? Because as parents, you do crazy stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes you do crazy stuff, and it's just like, if I was Ruth, would I tell him no? That's what made me think for a little bit.
I think it was at this point where Ruth, after knowing that Longlegs was already captured and then was killed as well too, or sorry, had died, killed himself, that she's like, all right, mask off. We might as well just go full throttle and just do it. I have one last delivery to do to Agent Carter's house, and while I'm doing it, I might as well just get rid of the lead doll as well too, because it's not going to matter anymore if Longlegs is gone.
But why continue? Longlegs is gone. Why just say, all right, let's go have some tea, and like, why continue?
I believe her comment at Carter's house was, this was so, if as long as this happens in the Carter's house and Ruby dies, then Ruth and Lee don't burn in hell.
Ruth, the little girl.
That's Ruby.
Who's Ruth? Oh, Ruth, her mom.
Ruth is the
Ruth,
mom.
her mom. So okay, so if this happens, then she's saving herself from burning from hell with her daughter. Okay, gotcha. So all of this is for her daughter. That makes it interesting.
Yep.
That's an interesting bargain.
Jason was
right?
a good boy.
Right. Okay, so we haven't talked about him, and I don't.
Let's talk about
Because I
it.
want to talk about the ending. But Nicolas Cage, how do we feel about him in this? Is this a Wicker Man performance, or like in a bad way or a good way? Like, is this his Heath Ledger Joker moment? Is this his coming out party? Like, is this where people start to love him, or is it? I mean, where are you at?
No, I think we're at a point where there are certain actors who are just incomparable, right? And Nick Cage is definitely one of those, where there's no putting him at a tier or level with anyone else. It's Nick Cage, and depending on what that movie is, you really don't know what you're going to get until you kind of see it. And this goes from everything from this movie to Ghost Rider. Or actually, this is his second Neon movie, because the first one he did was Pig. and I really liked Pig.
Yeah, we reviewed that.
Yeah, and again, that's a completely different type of Nick Cage, right? In that movie. What's another one that he? What was that Five Nights at Freddy's movies that he did where he didn't speak a word of it in that entire movie?
Oh, it was like it was a Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff. It was like a horror theme
Willy's
park thing.
Wonderland. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have all these, and then you had what was that? Oh, is that Dream Scenario that came out last year too, where it's kind of a back to quirky, yeah, kind of a quirky Nick Cage, almost like adaptation. You again, he is just all over the place. There's not too many actors who can go who have that range, who can just go completely character. I appreciate him, Nick Cage, but this is a type of role where I would expect kind of him in, right? There's certain people who you're just like, oh yeah, oh is that Gary Oldman? Yeah, I understand. It's I would expect that from him. As I'm reading the trivia, Osgood Perkins said that he can only imagine two people playing the role of Longlegs. He said it was going to be either Nick Cage or Brad Pitt.
Ooh, Brad Pitt. Okay, now correct me if I'm wrong, but the only time I seen Brad Pitt crazy was Fight Club, right?
Uh, yeah, I guess.
Right?
Oh, you want me to
Has
pull
he
up?
been crazy?
I don't think so. Not off the top of my head. I'd have to pull up his filmography to really.
Nick Cage or Brad Pitt? No, man, you got to go Cage with this role. Johnny Depp could do this role. He kind of did it in the Chocolate Factory remake.
But this is where it works, right? I mean, where you have a character really playing in a character, and there's not too many people who can do that. I think there's the person of a character is not one that is well with a lot of range because I feel like you really you typecast yourself into it. Like we all understand Johnny Depp is one who can wear many different hats, right? I already said, who the hell who did I say? Oh, jeez.
Johnny Depp, Brad Pitt, Gary Oldman.
Yeah, Gary Oldman. Uh, there's not too many other people who really can have that much, who can play like silly characters, serious characters, intimidating characters, scary characters, who could do all of it, right? So it's kind of an interesting thing. In one, I'm trying to pull up Brad Pitt to see if there's any other like scary things that he was in.
You're gonna find anything.
No, uh, no, because everything else is just basically a Brad Pitt type of a role, right?
Which would be kind of neat, but Nicolas Cage is what gets butts in theaters for this because you can't put Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt's a bigger star than Nicolas Cage. This movie
I
would
don't know.
flounder worse than Joker in theaters because people would be like, "What's Brad Pitt doing in this movie?"
Is
You
he
know, like
is
no, this no,
Lieutenant Aldo Rain a character? You want to put him in
nah,
there?
not Longley's character. Let's talk about the endings so the show doesn't go too long. Let's talk about what made me really think. Where she she leaves her mom's house, she gets in the car, she drives, and she goes to her boss's house. And mom's already there and everything clicked. Now, maybe they said stuff earlier that made things click for people, maybe, but the first time I saw this movie, I was so arms folded that I wasn't really paying attention to a lot of shit. Sorry for the swearing. But when she arrived to her boss's house and mom's already there with the doll, the daughter's all about the doll. The wife is obedient, whatever my husband says, wife, and the husband's just possessed. And my favorite line in the movie, my favorite line is when he says, you know, I know I'm not sorry, it's not him, it's her. She says, "I'm gonna go to the kitchen. I'll be right back," or something like that. And he's like, "No, I'll be back. You won't."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, that's great." So like, mom and dad, the boss, go into the kitchen, and you just see her mom get stabbed to death off screen.
Yeah. Oh god.
Oh, that's great. Dad comes back. She has to murder her dad. She has this dialogue with her mom. You know, she has to do the thing that she doesn't want to do. She kills her mom. And then she tries to shoot the doll, but she doesn't have any bullets.
Yeah.
So, like, we don't know what happens. So that's when I turn the movie off because the credits come down reverse, by the way. So I was like, okay, I'm going to walk away. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, yeah, man, that's really a good idea. Like, to end it all was her boss. It started with her and it ends with her.
Mm-hmm.
Kinda.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I like that. Do you want to get into your popcorn rating?
Yeah, let's get into the popcorn rating here. What was I gonna bring up? Oh, uh, the trivia. That's what it was. This little piece of trivia here. During an interview, Osgood Perkins, the writer-director, recalled a story from production where he learned Nick Cage has a particular skill that he says no other actor possesses. The ability to recognize how high or low he is able to speak without messing up the audio. According to Perkins, quote, the sound guy came over to me one day and he comes up to me a couple days into Nick being on set and he's like, Oz, I've never seen anything like it. When Nick is mic'd up, I'm watching the dials. When Nick goes big, he goes right to the line. Anything more, a decibel or two over that, and we wouldn't have anything to use. Then he goes down, and he goes soft and like he's whispering and he's barely talking, and he goes right to the line. Anything past that, we wouldn't be able to use. He knows what the lines are. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. Nick Cage,
That's kind of cool.
the professional.
Isn't it amazing before we get into our popcorn ratings that somebody that when we were kids growing up in the 90s, like your shirt, just like, I mean, like Nick Cage was king, right? The Rock, Con Air, Leaving Las Vegas, right? Like, just like these really good movies that he was in. And then when we became teenagers, high school age, he was just a joke with Wicker Man. I don't know what else. All I know is Wicker Man. He did like just really like just terrible films. And then like college age, YouTube becomes a thing, and we find out about Vampire's Kiss. Like, I'm a vampire. Like all of his craziness. Remember that? You know? And how for 20 years this guy was a joke. A joke.
Yeah, national treasure, and right.
Nobody cares about National Treasure. And, you know, like one of the things that pissed me off was not even 5 years ago. Do you remember Quint from Jaws, where he talked about the USS Indianapolis, that famous scene?
Mm-hmm.
They made that a movie starring Nicolas Cage.
Fantastic.
It's terrible.
Geez, I'm looking up his filmography. You're right. It is a lot of garbage. Seems to be like after Kick-Ass. It says here also that this movie was his highest grossing film after Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, 2011.
I believe that.
So this movie did very well, by the way, budgeted $10 million, and it made that opening weekend.
I mean, yeah, I believe that. Did you catch all the little silhouettes of Satan in the background after I watched it the second time that people are all over the internet talking about?
I did catch a few, yeah. Maybe not all of them, but I did catch a few.
Not all of them. Popcorn rating for me, I don't know if I'm going to shock you or the audience. I actually legitimately think this movie is great. Again, if we would have reviewed it the night that I saw it the first time, it was a bag of kernels. I'm completely going crazy on this one. Nick Cage crazy, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean, like, dude, like this movie's a large bag. Like, this movie's good. I hated it so much, but then after it ends, it makes you want to go back and watch it again to see what you missed. And to me, that's what makes it a good movie. And this is a movie I'm going to YouTube scenes on, not just the Nick Cage stuff. I think this it's great. This is definitely Gen Z's Silence of the Lambs. So I don't got much to say other than that. I think this is a large. Eric, what is your popcorn rating for LongLegs?
So the first time I had seen this movie, I enjoyed it in the theater experience. I really just enjoyed the way that the visuals came across, and I was all on board. But I really did not like the ending, and really, just like you, was just kind of not really sold too much on this movie. But damn it all, I found myself wanting to see it again. Like I was like, I can't wait for this thing to come out because I want to watch it again. And I'm happy that we when it came out, that I was able to watch it again because again, I was really into it. I didn't like the supernatural part at the end of it, but now I find myself because of it digging more into the movie and rewatching it and finding out a lot more. And so I was going to give it a lower rating than I thought it was. Um, I have to agree with you, man. I'll probably give this one a large two. This is one of those that really stood out for me for a bit. I enjoyed it. I think it's going to be a kind of a cult movie. I don't think it's it's not like the big blockbuster kind of thing. Even though it did make on $10 million budget, it made over 100 million, so it did very well for
Right.
itself. And one of its highest grossing for Neon Pictures, by the way, too. I am excited to see more of what they have. I'm very excited to see more from this director, from Oscar Perkins. He is doing the Stephen King movie or material, The Monkey, the short story, The Monkey.
I don't know that. I know Monkey Shines.
Yeah, I think it's I think it might be the same thing because Monkey Shine has that toy monkey with the symbols.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The cover that creeped me out.
Yep. So that's what it seems like. It's the same thing. So it looks like a bit more of maybe a horror comedy. I don't know. From the trailer, which is out now, by the way, you can watch it. It seemed like there's a bit of that in there. I really liked how the cast wasn't a huge cast. I think this movie was very minimal in how it was able to do everything, and I really enjoyed that. We talked about before how some movies can do better with the minimal part of it and just creepy. So I mentioned Smile about how there's a lot of audio in that too, but I remember the other one we talked about was Barbarian, and
Mm.
how again it's just a minimal thing. It's you don't need like these big budget kind of movie sets and things like that. It's just like no, keep it kind of low budget, man, because it works when it was scary movies. I think that's the big part of or big issue with scary movies nowadays is maybe just them trying to go too big, and it's like no, if you want to keep it scary, man, keep it in the realm of kind of in where we're at here. Is what I'm
Darn, man,
trying
I
to
gotta
say.
watch Barbarian again. I remember I gave that movie a huge, huge popcorn rating on that one. I loved that movie.
It's a ride. I one thing I think that the superhero Marvel movies have done is that they've turned a lot of these theater going experiences into a ride, into a big kind of event kind of thing. So a lot of movies that maybe would have done well in the theaters, whether it be a horror or comedy, go directly to streaming now. And that's a big statement in the age that we live in because a lot of movies, like we had done Bottoms, where would it have done well in the movie theaters? Who knows? But again, a lot of those types of comedies are going straight to streaming now because audiences want this roller coaster in the movies now. Same
Right.
with a scary movie. I think Longlegs, like movie like this, did well in the theaters, just because one, the PR marketing for this was fantastic. No, Nick Cage was nowhere in the posters, in the advertisements, or anything. He was kept secret, and so Longlegs was this. You didn't get to see it until you saw it in the theaters, which I thought was fantastic. So I'm really glad that movies like this are starting to become more and more popular. Smile 2 is apparently crushing it right now in the movie theaters, which is great. I would like
Can't
to
wait to
see.
review it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this resurgence of a horror movie that it's coming back here. I'm hoping that comedies can find the same way too, but we'll see. It's going to be kind of hard for that. I'm rambling, but I really enjoyed this movie. I don't think you can make a sequel to this.
No, there's no sequel.
there's no way you can. I think.
I mean, yeah,
I
there's no sequel.
I think that the small parts of Ruth, of the catatonic patient, who played what the hell, Carrie Ann in this movie,
Mhm.
Kiernan Shipka is her name. I think I got her name confused before. I think she did fantastic. I thought Lee was great with her minimal acting. It didn't need to be big or crazy or anything like that. It was just needed to be kind of in her lane. I liked Blair Underwood in this movie. I thought he was fantastic in it.
Mhm.
Listen, it was not a big story as much as it was the elements that made this movie work, and that's why I enjoyed it.
Yes, I really enjoyed this movie. It's definitely a second watch because I don't know, maybe not. Maybe for some people it's not a second watch, but for me it was a second watch, and I'm glad because again, for me, if I hate it and then for a couple of hours I just think about that's all I think about, nothing else. I'm just like, okay, the movie's doing something. You know what I mean? Like you take like a half an hour and you all these think about it, and then your brain snaps. You're like, okay, there's something here if I'm just conscious. Like when you and I destroy a Fast and the Furious movie, as soon as we get done reviewing it, I'm not thinking about the movie.
Yeah. Can I ask, would you judge this movie differently if Longlegs survived and didn't kill himself? If for some reason or another, maybe he wasn't even caught, or Ruth
I don't know
helped him get
why
him
he killed
away
himself.
because his job was done.
I mean, as far as we know, right?
There's the illusion of like why Ruby, the kid, was the last one, is because when Lee Harker brought him in, she's just like, but you're done now. The job is done, and he was on the run, or he was on his way to package up and move across wherever the heck it was. And so
Mm-hmm.
that moment when he already did his reciting or whatever he was doing, he said, "You're right, the job is done." And then hail Satan, and then he starts killing himself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Good point. He bangs his head across the table. We could ramble about it. We think this movie is great. So since you and I gave it a large, and this is our last movie of the season, this is going to go into the movie guys film of the year category.
Hot damn.
I mean, we'll see what the fans think if it's film of the year or not. It's competing with Killers of the Flower Moon and what holdovers.
Holdovers
Yeah,
and Godzilla -1.
yeah. Too. Oh,
Was there another
never
one
mind.
in there
That's
too? Did we have another one where we gave too large, or were we?
I don't know. I'll go back and look. That's an off-air conversation because, oof. But for those of you who are listening, thank you for bearing with me with my voice. I am sorry again, Eric. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And everybody who is listening, thank you again. Check us out at Movie Guys Podcast at podbean.com. We know wherever you download your podcast from, we are on that app. Thank you so much for downloading us. We're getting close to celebrating our 10th season. So that's pretty, I mean, like we got syndication at this point. So we're ready. We beat Friends. Not yet. No, we're tied with Friends. We're tied with Friends.
Yes, sir.
It's tough. So, Eric, thank you much for joining me. We'll be back next week for an awesome episode. Have a good night. Is this next one is a substitute
A substitute.
because somebody said, nuh-uh. So now you're going to replace.
Okay, let's take a look as I crack these open. I had a guess
What'd you have a guess on?
that these were going to be Hey Dudes.
No.
Oh, they are not Hey Dudes. As I open it up and I see the stripes as I open them up here.
God, you're going to be awesome.
All right, what we got here? Now that
You know what
I
they
see the stripes, I'm pretty sure I know what they are as I open them up, and it's gonna be Jordan style. Oh, here we go. This is great. All right, yes, sir. Part of the club here.
Now,
Hold on. Let me
now you can wear those around the house.
put these on.
I'm sorry.
I don't know how Sarah's gonna be able to contain herself tonight. These are natural right here. Who needs clogs when you got these, baby? This is.
Tell me they're not comfortable.
These fit to my feet like
I
this
know.
automatically. It's like Cinderella in the glass slipper. Right here. Sarah can't get enough. She's just taking pictures so that she can remember this moment. And this is going to be her new background of the wallpaper on her phone, I would imagine.
Tell her to send me the pictures on the group chat so I can show Gina.
This shirt, these shoes. Yep.
Look at that.